up, everyone? This is your Ticket to Reality. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich, editor-in-chief of Agents of Fandom.com, ready to talk about some reality TV with you all. We got a very exciting show today, 5-person booth. But first, I'm joined, as always, by my fellow agent and co-host, Emma Doris. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Ready to get into all the messy shows that we have to talk about.
We do. We got a lot of mess to talk about today, and I'm excited about it. And excited to hear our wonderful guests dive in as well. But before we get to them, we have the finalist from season 2 of The Circle on Netflix. Our good friend, the best author we know, Lee Swift author. Lee Swift, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. And ready to get messy with Emma and Ash and Garrett. Of course, you haven't introduced them. Please do Garrett last, because, he just showed up.
Do Garrett last is the story of my life, so par for the course already.
No Ryan today, and you know what that means. Lee needs to have a new punching bag for the episode. Yep. And for those who don't know, it was Garrett first.
It was.
Garrett was one of the original co-hosts of the Ticket to Reality podcast before the Agents of Fandom really started taking off, and he got a little too busy. But we got to do Garrett last, and so before we get there, we are also joined by a fellow agent as well, one of our senior writers and just most talented people that we know. Ash, how you doing?
Oh, stop. Thanks. This is my first podcast, and I'm so excited to dive deep into this dumpster fire with all of you.
I can't wait.
That's my bad, because I feel like this is way too long of a time for it to be your debut, so we're definitely going to have a lot more, and I'm so excited to have you on. We also have Garrett, the director of content and editorial at agentsofandom.com, former co-host of the Ticket to Reality podcast. How you doing, G?
Dude, I gotta say, it is so weird to be introduced last, because every time we get on a podcast together, and I'm the first to be introduced, so waiting my turn felt a little bit, I got a little bit impatient, but it's so good to be back here. This was one of my big joys, and getting too busy for it was definitely a huge bummer for me. So getting to come back and talk about such a messy situation, and to just see Emma and Lee's face is just really nice. So I love you guys. I miss you guys. No more sap. I'll continue to be the punching bag. If you are an earlier listener, I'll give you the original relationship that you crave between Lee and I. But besides that, Ash, I'm so happy to be here on your first podcast talking some Vanderpump with you.
I know. It's perfect. I'm so excited.
But we'll save that for later.
Yes.
Yeah, he's already messing it up, but I'm not saying anything. You are on probation for this episode, just so you know. Go ahead.
Says the guy who announced our guests before I got a chance to introduce them, but we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to dive into some spoiler-free reactions to The Ultimatum Queer Love for those who haven't seen it yet, including myself and a couple people on this podcast. We're going to keep it spoiler-free. And just give our initial thoughts. Em's going to dive into Jewish Matchmaker, and Garrett and Ash are going to talk about some Vanderpump Rules, and Lee's got an awesome story for that one as well that we can't forget about. So we have lots of things coming. We have some heartburn from the garlic bread and lasagna we ate before the stream, and we have some chaotic brain that's filled with thoughts of Across the Spider-Verse, because we're 2 days away at the time we're recording this, and I can't wait to see.
I can't believe it.
That movie, and we're going to be talking about that one on the Agents of Fandom podcast, so make sure you tune into all the podcasts on the Agents of Fandom network, including Ticket to Reality, Listen 3000, Fandom Academy, the Agents of Fandom podcast, and we're going to be covering some Spider-Verse over at one place, some reality TV somewhere else, so make sure you tune in to all of them on the Agents of Fandom YouTube page. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that fun stuff. Lee, I want to throw it to you first because you've seen the first episode of the Ultimatum Queer Love. Not all the way through, keeping it spoiler free. We've been pining for this show for a while. What were your thoughts
Yeah.
on the first episode?
I I love that queer people are being presented just like people, because instead of just being a token on an episode or two or three tokens, they're taking over the whole show. And I thought they were all fascinating and interesting characters. Um, but I don't know if any of the relationships are going to last, because I was like, wow. I thought, oh my gosh, if Steven and I 35 years ago had gone on that show, wow, I would not have. Yeah, I don't know if we would have made it. I'm fairly certain. First of all, when they were sitting around the pool, I won't spoil anything, but they split. Everybody who watches The Ultimatum knows how it works, I'm sure. Couples, one says, hey, I want to get married or whatever, and then the next day we're exes and they're going around the pool of possibilities. I am so jealous. Back in the day when Steven and I first got together, one of his exes showed up at a bar that we were at, and I was like nuts. I was like a crazy person. And it was somebody he had broke up with long before me. And I was like, I hate him, So no, I would have been swimming across the pool, throwing somebody in the pool, just so you know. I would have made good TV, but
I was just going to say, that's an episode of TV I want to watch.
Yeah, honestly.
That's funny that the timing of that story, because Ava and I are rewatching Clone Wars right now. Ava's first time through the series, I think fourth. She's loving it. I'm still loving it. And guess who just showed up? Clovis. Rush Clovis just showed up.
This motherfucker.
Padme's former love. Anakin is jealous. And he's human. He's just like you, Lee. He's not happy. So I've always thought you had some similarities to Anakin Skywalker.
I'm really
I could
bad.
see you going down the dark side.
Steven is so cool in these kind of situations. I mean, he's like ice. Nothing bothers him. Whatever. I'll tell another bad story about me. So Steven and I were together, and then it was a friend of his. The way we met, it was a bartender, and I kind of had a fling with the bartender, and so his name was Billy, and he said, "Hey, I want you to meet my friend Steven." So Billy had already kind of moved on, and I was kind of like needy, clingy, and so I went up to the bar. Gosh, is this therapy for Lee? I went up to the bar, and Steven is sitting there, and I was like, and it was a hotel bar, and nobody was there. And I saw this guy, and I went, oh my God, that's the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my entire life. And so we got together. Well, Billy had kicked me to the curb, and I went right into Steven's arms, which I was willingly. But later, Billy comes into this bar 6 months later, and he hadn't talked to me or anything. I went up to him, and I was kind of cocktailed. This is bad. I grabbed him by the crotch and said, "You don't know what you missed out on." Steven grabs me and he goes, "Okay, drunk, we're taking you home." Oh, golly, I just told this on this podcast. Shut up. The Ultimatum. Go, Emma.
I come back for one episode and shit goes unhinged. It's crazy.
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that.
Yeah.
Well, I transferred it right to Emma and didn't make me transition because you left me speechless.
There's no segue that makes sense for that. But yeah, no. Well, you heard it here first, guys. We got all the tea from the circle guests and finalists and everything. But yeah, so The Ultimatum. I enjoyed whatever the first 4 episodes, whatever's out right now. It's definitely, I think I'm liking it better than the first season already, because it's just nice, like Lee said, to get that queer representation that is very much needed on reality TV and just everywhere in general. But it's just kind of nice to have these couples just kind of treated as regular people. Like it's not just like one queer person on a reality show to be like the token queer person. But it's still very messy, and there's a lot of relationships. I also agree. I don't know that all of these people are going to end up together. There's one person that annoys me very much throughout all the episodes.
Is it the same person?
Probably.
It's got to be.
It
Yeah,
has to
I
be.
bet it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say it's Vanessa.
That's
Okay,
it.
good,
Yeah.
good. Thank you. Because
Oh my God.
I can't.
She's so
Anytime there's
thirsty.
one of these people, I go, we got to have Sam, winner of
Yes.
season 4 or 5 of The Circle,
Yes.
back
Mhm.
on the podcast to give her thoughts on Vanessa, because anytime there's a character that we all hate,
Yep.
Sam usually is on the same page, and I absolutely love her thoughts on it. Ash, is this going to be something you're putting on your watch list?
Oh, of course. I mean, I've kind of dabbled, but I mean, hearing all this chatter and how messy it is, I will be tuning in.
It's hilarious because, like, I agree. I view The Ultimatum as just like a messy show, and I remember the first time I watched season 1, and just like somebody like Zay, I'm watching him and his relationship, and I'm like, ooh, this is tough. There are some shitty guys on these shows, and then I watch Love Is Blind, and I just see, ooh, like the Shanes and the Bartises. Trigger warning. I'm sorry. Just some terrible people, and I go, oh, maybe Zay actually wasn't that bad. So I'm really excited to dive into The Ultimatum, Queer Love. Emma, yeah, another show that you just dove into, binge, right, start to finish. Talk to me about Jewish Matchmaker.
So, and just really quick about The Ultimatum, my other one thought is that I feel like this season so far, because it's not just the couples are all a wide range of ages, whereas I felt like the first season was just kind of like a bunch of 23-year-olds that decided they wanted to get married.
Who are you
more,
liking? Who are you liking? Let's see if we like the same people.
Let me see. I'm trying to remember. I really like Xander and Yoli. I like them together. Okay, cool. We're on the same page. I really, they just like, I don't know. I'm rooting for them, honestly. And I don't think in the first, I don't know if I rooted for any of like the new couples, like the trial couples, as much as I do now. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
There's cool chemistry.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a spoiler there, but
oh, true.
We don't know.
Sorry.
We don't know what happens.
Yeah, we don't know what happens, but they're kind of the.
I loved Xander right from the get-go.
Yeah, me too.
I just was like, oh my gosh, I love you so much.
Yeah.
And then Yoli, I warmed up to.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think once seeing them together, yeah, I think together they work really well. Yeah. Anyway, sorry for getting off on a tangent, but
sorry.
Nope. But we're on the same page, and I can't wait to dive into that further.
If you're gonna go off on a tangent, it better be an embarrassing story from your past.
No. I am not. I don't really think I have that many embarrassing stories, except for like.
I've never done anything wrong. I walk through life as a breeze, and everything flows over me like water. If only I was as cool as Em.
I have a lot of embarrassing injuries, like pretty much all of it. Okay, well, I'll tell. You know what? I'm not. I'm not ashamed. In 6th grade, we had a fire drill at the end of, I was in 6th grade. It was like the end of the school year. It was like the second to last day of school. And they decided to do a fire drill. I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what the point is, but whatever. And so the entire school was out. We all like walked out of the school. And I tripped over a speed bump as we were walking. Like I was walking. I didn't, I tripped over the speed bump that's meant for cars. And the entire school was out. Out. And so some people saw me from afar, and it was I actually have a scar from it to this day. So.
That is way worse than my story.
So much worse.
I had a pretty rough 6th grade injury too. That was pretty embarrassing, but it wasn't as public as yours. It was more like only some people saw, but the people who saw it was pretty rough.
So here's the theme of the show, because Lee told an embarrassing story about an ex. Emma told an embarrassing injury story. When we get into the Vanderpump discussion and Garrett and Ash take the spotlight, each of you are going to have to tell an embarrassing story, but it's your choice about what. Yes. And then at the end, before we wrap up, I'll double down on each of the themes, because I'm barely going to be doing any talking on the pod, because I haven't seen any of these shows, so I'll just tell a bunch of embarrassing stories at the end. But
Love it.
That
no
seems
more
fair.
tangents. Taking us back to the main path. Emma, Jewish matchmaking.
Jewish matchmaking. Okay, so I have never seen any of the other. I know there's Indian matchmaking that's out, so I think that's the only other this realm of show. But it's really interesting. So it follows the main matchmaker. Her name is Eliza. And so my understanding of it is kind of, so there is kind of a tradition of matchmaking in the Jewish faith. It's, I think, more so for the Orthodox community. And I'm not like, I don't know everything about it because I'm not Orthodox. But it's a really good show. Like, it's kind of refreshing because it's not really like, it's not like Your Love Is Blind or anything like that. Like, not really a dating show in that aspect, but it's more so just like, talking to people and trying to help them find the right person, really. And so really like making sure to, figure out what qualities they're looking for in another person and matching them with the best, potential match. Of course there's a little bit of drama because not all of the matches work out. Some people are just not great. But it was really interesting just kind of seeing all different types of people. And I really like how they highlighted just people from all different aspects of the Jewish community. So some Orthodox, some Reform, Jews of color. Like, I think it was really great to see all of that. And I actually learned a lot myself about different areas of Judaism that I actually didn't know about. So I really recommend it. The only thing that I didn't like about it is that it didn't really fully resolve things at the end. And I'm the kind of person that I need like epilogues in books. I need to like know exactly what happens with people. And there wasn't like 2 months later, like this couple was still together. So I kind of had to do like some digging on my own. But yeah, that was the only downside. Otherwise, I really enjoyed it.
This is just reality TV week of representing Emma on the screen.
I know, it really is.
It's awesome. I love that we're getting that right now. Kind of on that similar page, you brought up bringing in multiple different people from different aspects of the Jewish community. I found out something the other day, and I thought that you would like this. As Shadow comes and says hello again,
he agrees.
Both of one of our favorite sitcoms, New Girl. Obviously, there's like a lot of jokes within the show about Schmidt, whose character is Jewish and the actor in real life is Jewish, his Jewishness, his Judaism. But what I found out in real life that I had no idea of is that Zooey Deschanel and Jake Johnson, both also Jewish.
Oh.
So Jake Johnson is not fully Jewish.
Okay.
He doesn't like practice the faith or anything like that, but it's his dad who is Jewish. Okay. And then Zooey Deschanel converted to Judaism because her husband is Jewish.
Oh, cool. I love that. That's awesome.
It's the whole damn show. I love that show so much.
I've been rewatching it now, actually. Like, I just started rewatching it the other day, so that's perfect. I love that. It makes me love it even more.
Anytime I get a chance to talk about New Girl, I'm absolutely gonna take it. Garrett and Ash, it's your time to shine. Em and Lee had us in the first half. You guys are going to carry us home in the second half here. Ash, I want to throw it to you first. Why do you like Vanderpump Rules first off? And then what did you think about this season and how it concluded?
Oh my gosh. Well, Vanderpump Rules, I love the pettiness and the drama. I loved how it first started off, right? We followed all of the servers and kind of watched them go back and forth at each other. And it's seriously a dumpster fire of a show. And it just has progressively somehow, it has gotten worse. And right when you think it's like peak, it somehow goes beyond. And it's just the best reality TV I have ever watched in my life. Out of all the shows.
You meant second best, but that's okay.
That's right. My mistake.
I don't think we can even compare these two shows. They're so far on the opposite realms of reality TV that it's just not even comparable.
That's true.
Garrett, I want your thoughts, but also I have a theory that just popped into my head right now because it made me realize that when Ash was describing why she loves Vanderpump Rules, that was almost the same description I give for why I love the Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh God.
Like, you could just like
That's interesting.
cross off the titles and give that description, and I feel like it would work well. Like, it's a mess, it gets worse each time, and I fucking love it.
Yep.
So here's
That's a very
theory.
loose comparison, but yeah, we'll take it.
One of our here's my theory. One of our Agents of Fandom co-hosts on our podcast, as well as just one of the very best editors and writers in the game, Adam Blevins. Do you think he also hates reality TV because he just probably can't handle that type of cringiness?
I would wager that there's a lot of reality TV stuff that Adam would not be able to stomach.
Yeah,
on a true, like, in reality, like, he would be like, what? Like, you guys actually, like, there's a lot of trash.
I can see him not liking the trashiest, like, messiest reality.
But I love that, you know, like.
I think he'd have like the best commentary though. I really
Definitely.
do. I would love to hear his thoughts and what he like, how he like just deals with this, watching these people do all of these awful things.
It would have to be like a chore for him, like the stream. The streams aren't a chore for him, but it would have to be like a scheduled thing for him to like get through, and we would all have to like, because he would be like, I don't know if I can sit through like all of this, or like continually for like seasons and seasons and seasons and seasons.
I imagine it's like my
reaction videos.
Yeah,
I would love to see that. I imagine it's like my partner Chris, like the way he watches, because he doesn't really watch reality TV, but Below Deck is the one thing that we've been watching together. I imagine it's probably going to be like his commentary, because he'll sit there and be like, he like takes it so personally, and I get it, because you know I'll be sitting and watching some stuff that makes me like so angry, but you know, with reality TV, I'm like, it is what it is. He's just sitting there like, oh my God, like I can't even watch this. Like it gets really, his commentary is really funny, so I imagine it's probably similar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I know that he can't get through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because he thinks the first season is so bad, I'm never going to be able to enjoy the masterpiece that is the rest of it. So I don't think that he would be able to stomach like
However,
a bad season.
He loves Succession, and
That's true.
Those are the worst people. So
that's a good
like
point.
if he can stomach Succession, he might be able to do the same for Van.
But it's a quality thing. It's like he's like, oh, the writing and the production of it is so good, and the acting. Like it's not because he enjoys watching the shitty actions of the people.
I don't know.
Garrett, why do you enjoy watching the shitty actions of the people in Vanderpump Rules?
Well, it's riveting. Let me backtrack and kind of give a little bit of my history with Vanderpump Rules, because I am not like a longtime viewer. I haven't watched it in its entirety even. I started watching with my partner Nina like in the pandemic. We were watching like when Jax and Kristen got married, like during that time, like before Stassi left, like 2 seasons ago maybe, and then we stopped because she was like, oh, I'm kind of over it. I've watched it since the beginning. I'm like kind of over it, and I wasn't just gonna watch it by myself. And then we heard about all the drama that ensues in this current season. She's like, all right, I gotta get back and like watch it. So we've watched the entirety of this season in real time, and she's like explained everything to me, and it's still like it's this juiciest season of reality TV without me having the entirety of the context of the other like 9 seasons, and it's still the best reality TV I've ever seen, like bar none. It's unreal. And so to honor my appearance here and just the history of what I'm watching, I've gone back and I'm on a rewatch of everything right now. I've rewatched 3 seasons this weekend. It's been the entirety of everything I've done.
How's your mental health?
It's god awful. Oh my God. I have been to SUR, so I've gone to SUR like not knowing all of this, and like I know the history and everything, but now I've the nitty gritty of it, and it's fucking wild.
You spent the entire day editing Friday, and you said you were going to take a nice, restful, relaxing weekend off, and you just spent the whole fucking time stressing yourself out with this show. No.
Yeah, but it wasn't a bad stress out. Like I'm working. It was like, oh my god, like what am I watching? You know, like sit back with popcorn stress out. Like, you know, a good relaxful stress out. I know that doesn't make any sense, but
No, I do the same thing. Like,
yeah, if you've been there, you know.
Yeah, like I tell, you know, and while we're watching Below Deck, I tell Chris, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to like turn my brain off and watch this shit, and he's just like, it's gonna stress me out. Like he takes it so to heart. He's like, this is actually stressing me. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like you just, it is stressful. Like I'm trying to explain to him just like the procedures of watching reality TV. Like yeah, it's gonna stress you out, and you're gonna realize these are really shitty people. But like it's just, it's different. You still, it's like watching other people have, you know, their lives are a train wreck, and then you don't have to deal with your own life. So that's how I view it.
Like I compare it to watching like a horror movie. It's like awful, terrifying, but like you can't look away. It's gripping. This is entertainment at its finest.
Exactly.
And if you've ever worked in a restaurant, it just adds like that much extra of a layer to it, because it's, while not every restaurant is as juicy as Sir, I can promise you, most restaurants have a group of employees that continually sleep around with each other, and there is always inter-restaurant drama that happens in-house, back of house, like management. Like it is, the restaurant industry is just a crazy place. Like you're slinging drinks, you're working fast, hard, late, long nights often, and that comes with partying and doing crazy stuff. And oftentimes these people make poor life decisions, and this group of people just had the entirety of them filmed for a decade, and I can't imagine like my lowest points being filmed for 10 years. It's crazy. Everyone at some point is a villain.
I'm going to ask Garrett and Nash, which of the Toms is your favorite Tom?
That's such an easy question after this season. It's not like, probably before this season it was an easy question.
Do you like Schwartz? Do you like him? Because I think he's just as bad as Tom.
Okay, I don't think he's just as bad. He's certainly not just as bad, but he has done some bad stuff. I think Nina, my partner, said it to me in the best way. He is a vibes guy. He like, and Sandoval is too, but if you do anything to like ruin his vibes in any way, he deflects, or he starts to give his attention to someone else, or he I don't think he's a bad person per se, but he's definitely a puppet.
He doesn't know how to think for himself.
He's definitely a puppet, and that's why I wouldn't say he's worse than Tom Sandoval, because Tom Sandoval is probably an actually an evil person who is like.
Well, I think he's a sociopath. Like,
he
has many feelings.
He's a pathological liar at the very least. But he definitely has some.
Yeah, I mean, just to clarify, he cheated on Ariana, his life partner of 9 years, with their best friend. I'm going to call her Rachel now because that's what the internet is calling her. You may know her as Raquel, but
I've heard those
9
names.
years. Yeah, it's the worst story in reality TV history.
And it's even worse when you like. I didn't even realize the true context or the true history of it, but like when you realize that he in the past has had his best friend and his girlfriend cheated on him with his best friend. So he should know how like devastating it is to get like shell shocked like that. And then he does it to another person. And it's just crazy to like, they're all just liars, really. They're all just really
very incestual too. Like they all sleep around and date each other. And it's like, these people are gorgeous. They're beautiful people. They could probably be with whoever they wanted, but they like stick to each other, and it's just like, why? What is going on?
It's interesting because there's an aspect of it that a lot of, well, I guess Below Deck has it to an extent, but an aspect of it where it's not just that they're on a reality TV show, but at the same time, like, and especially in the earlier years when they're younger, but like they were like poor, or not poor, but they were like struggling, you know, they were actual waiting tables and stuff. That wasn't just for a show. Like they were waiters and bartenders, and it was week to week. They lived on their tips. So there was a job aspect to it too that was so tangible and like satisfying to watch that isn't there as much now as they've all like moved on and gone to their bigger business stuff and whatnot.
And our two guests next week are the two Toms from Vanderpump Rules.
Oh no.
I would have a lot to say to them, to be honest with you. Nina actually met Tom Sandoval a long time ago at Disneyland, and like was like, oh my god, she used to love him, and then now
This happened.
it's not so well. It
Have
was before that,
have
but
you
this
been
definitely
to,
sealed
like-
it.
Have you been to Schwartz and Sandy's or Tom Tom's?
I've been to Tom Tom's.
Mhm.
I've been to Sir twice, and then the first time we went to Sir, and then went over to Tom Tom and had like a couple drinks. The second time we didn't make it over to Tom Tom, but yeah, I've been to both of them. I haven't been to Schwartz and Sandy's because that didn't open until like October, November, or something like pretty recently, and I didn't even know about it until this season. And now it's like wouldn't want to go there really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have
So-
your own history with this show because you met Lisa Vanderpump.
I did. Yeah, we were there for a reality something or other, and we were with some of the gang, and they said we're gonna get. They knew Lisa was there. Nobody else was there, just Lisa, and so we went in, and they were packed. But because we were reality stars, she let us in.
It was at Sir.
At Sir, yeah.
That's
And
Nice.
so cool.
yeah, and she was leaving. She goes, "Yeah, I'll let you in," but she was leaving, and she had a big Rolls Royce come up, and it was pretty fun. But nobody inside serving. There was nobody. But
Did you get any goat cheese balls?
I don't. I don't remember.
Oh,
What
you
we
would
got.
remember if you got the goat cheese balls. You would remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
They're so good. I have to say.
I was a little cocktails at the moment, so
Fair.
I'm just saying.
Fair.
I remember meeting her. She may have been more drunk than me, but I wouldn't have known. So
Got it.
okay.
I told
Wow,
him
another
in the week
confession.
that you were going to be on the podcast, and he didn't remember that. So it doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
I played for a nice surprise today, so it worked.
Yeah, there you go. Everything's new. When I wake up, it's a new day. So it's all good.
I
Ash,
hope
you're
it's
my
not
favorite.
that bad.
You're my favorite guest, Ash.
Oh, thank you. I
I'm gonna tell
appreciate it.
Tommy Bracco you
You're
said
my
that.
favorite host.
Thank you.
Shout out to Tommy Bracco, one of the awesome guests we've had in the past, who just got engaged to his partner recently. Big shout out to him. So
Congrats.
congratulations to you both. Lee, that's a pretty big, pretty high praise, because we've had some pretty incredible guests in the past, including some of your really close friends. Like,
I know.
how are you gonna walk up to Lisa and tell her I like Ash better?
You're my favorite guest with that watches Vanderpump Rules regularly.
The bar was pretty low there, Holly.
Yeah.
yeah. Garrett, on the other
Well, Garrett,
hand,
I'm above you, so.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. I was the bar. I was the low bar. You surpassed that.
everybody's above Garrett, just so you know.
I know Ryan is going to be listening to this and just breathing a sigh of relief.
Relishing his freedom.
Yeah.
Ryan enjoying his vacation in Florida, listening to the Ticket to Reality podcast, just hearing Lee rag on Garrett, just to himself as he waits in line for those rides at Disney World. Before we step aside from Vanderpump, Garrett and Ash, I want from each of you kind of like the biggest moments of the season that's stuck out for you, as well as don't think you're going to get away without telling the embarrassing story. I'll throw it to you first.
Yes.
Ash, let's do this together. We'll each rip off some pretty significant moments.
All right.
I think the first for me is the whole lie of Schwartz and Rachel hooking up to cover up the other Tom and Rachel actually hooking up. That was the first egregious thing.
Very weird and gross how they tried to form that storyline and pin it
so
on
for everyone now, the two Toms, the one of them was actually cheating on his life partner with this woman, and to fabricate to distract from this, the other Tom made out with her, and it was like a big storyline with the group, and it sunk his relationship with his he's getting a divorce with his wife, and it they were trying to keep things amicable, and this just sunk it. So that was the first egregious thing.
Yeah, for me, they didn't specifically mention it on the show, but the lightning bolt necklaces, they both have these matching or similar lightning bolt necklaces that kind of represent each other in their relationship, and just the ick of the both of them wearing that as like a sign of love in front of everybody is just so disgusting. Like when you learn about what that means and represents, I thought that was gross. And then just I think it was the last episode, hashtag Scandival, when Ariana explained that she had to let Tom into their home after he finished fucking Rachel in the car.
Outside,
And it's
yeah.
just so gross. It's the grossest story
And then
ever.
many times throughout the season, you see like this girl Rachel is like hanging out with them a lot because she's very good friends with Ariana, and they're in like a hot tub together at many points and like doing flirty stuff. And Ariana always is like, no, we're really good friends. Like they would never do that. And you see like watching it back, knowing that they're actually have been banging for like a long time. You see all these disgusting things. Like he's like, they go on these trips together and he's just like talking her up to all the friends, like, no, I'm just proud of her. I'm just proud of this like woman that she's become. Like all these like super gross moments that you look back on, like they're actually hooking up this entire time. And then one of the
really
friends,
hard to watch.
Tom, literally goes, "Watch out, you guys! Like she has a type. It's guys with boyfriends." And like in front of everyone, like all the girlfriend is there, like the guy, like his friend is there, who's actually cheating, who must have been mortified when he said that, like. You know,
and they all just like laughed. It was just, it's so like, I'm telling you, I really believe that like Tom Sandoval and maybe Tom Schwartz, they're sociopaths because to be able to do this, you have to like be able to like not care about your not partner of 9 years. It's just unfathomable. I feel bad for like consuming this content since like March because I'm like these are real people. This Ariana's really experiencing this, but at the same time, it's like such a dumpster fire. You can't look away.
Yeah,
I feel
it's
bad
pretty incredible.
After every single time I go to McDonald's and I get 2 double cheeseburgers and 2 junior chickens and fries, and I do it again every time, and I'm not going to stop.
You can't stop.
Nor
should you.
Yeah, the good feeling before the bad is just worth it. It really makes it worth it. I'm gonna let you guys pass without an embarrassing.
No, I'm gonna give it. Okay, good.
I didn't want to force. Because I did want to force you to.
No, I'm gonna match M because she gave it a pretty embarrassing 6th grade story, so I'll give my pretty embarrassing 6th grade story. I don't remember a lot of context leading up to it, but I remember the events. And I don't blame this guy. I don't think it was like a crazy malicious thing to do, but it was a joke that turned out very poorly. So anyways, we were in the restroom together using the urinals and joking, and I was mid PP. And if you've never seen a urinal, they got like chest length, they have like a little like metal square that like the lever to flush it. This is an older one, obviously I was in 6th grade. It's not a sensor flush or a button flush, but it was an old, pull flush.
Yes, I wouldn't.
I have to. Well, this is very important because this metal block that was about chest level, this kid shoved me forward while I was mid pee, and my ribs are like still a little bit misshapen to this day. But that wasn't the truly embarrassing part. It hurt my chest, but I was mid pee and I had to go the rest of the day with pee all over myself. You didn't
get to go home?
No, I didn't get to go home. It was like probably an hour or like 2 hours left in the day, and I just had to sit the rest of it with pee. It was a huge bummer. Anyone that came near me knew what was up.
Oh my God.
There was a couple people in the bathroom who actually saw it, so props to them. They probably got a really great show, but my chest is now like one side's a little bit in my rib cage. Hilarious.
Damn. And for 6th grade, that's like devastating.
Oh, it was horrible. Yeah, my chest could have been, my left side of my rib cage could have been obliterated, but nothing would have compared to the embarrassment that I felt that day.
Exactly.
Wow.
That is a pretty great story, though. G. in terms of, damn it, I wanted to keep myself going on that one without breaking character. I was so proud of that.
Oh, man.
I love a good pun, dad joke, whatever you want to call it. But in terms of, having too many cocktails and making a fool of myself in front of my ex, I don't think I had any like big specific ones, but I had like multiple small stupid ones, like a lot of drunk texts, a lot of just like seeing my ex's friends at the bar, and then like telling her friends how much better I am than her new boyfriend, things like that. Some embarrassing ones, but nothing too bad. I have to like gloat before I tell the embarrassing one, but I've had some like cool injury stories. Like there was one time I was
I have
playing.
a cool injury story.
Okay, there we go. Throwing it to Ash after for a cool injury story. I was playing basketball one time, and the guy who was guarding me was much shorter than me, which was rare because I'm not very tall. But he's much shorter than me, and he jumped to get a rebound, and his head hit my chin, and my teeth like clamped together, and like my one of my front teeth just like chipped in half.
Oh.
And my dad always says this is his favorite story from watching me play basketball as a kid. But I spat my tooth out in my hand, got the rebound, and I made the shot with one hand, and I walked right up.
My God.
Oh,
There's another
that's
time.
Nice.
There's another time where it was like the opposite happened. Same thing, getting a rebound, but a guy a foot taller than me brought his elbow down right on my cheek, and I broke my cheekbone. I got a concussion. It was the most points I had ever scored in a basketball game. Was that game? So it was like, it fired me up, right?
Was it 6 points? Just kidding.
42, Lee. It was 42.
It was against the middle school down the street.
Yeah. We were college age playing in middle school.
Junior varsity, as you
Just
Americans would say.
I had to give you a little Garrett love there.
But there's one time when I was golfing. I've hurt my ankle multiple times playing basketball and playing football. There was one time playing basketball, I tried to do something fancy during warm-ups, and then I hurt my ankle, and my coach got super mad at me. But then I ended up playing good because I didn't want him to be mad at me. There's one time I'm golfing, right? And I'm just walking, shooting the shit with my friends, being a fool. And Garrett can vouch. The rodents where I live are different than the rodents where you live.
Different how?
You guys have bunnies that are like this big.
Yeah, we like bunny.
Okay.
We have bunnies. They have rabbits.
We have like jackrabbits that are like the size of small dogs or cats.
It's jarring.